Alright guys, today we have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and discuss. Before we dive into today's topics, if you could do me a big favor, if you do enjoy these types of videos, or if by the end of it you found it informative, be sure to leave the video a like. It really helps them out more than you know. And if you are new here to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. The first topic we're going to be discussing is one that I think many of you will find interesting, to say the least. And that is the fact that we have the head of Xbox Game Studios seemingly praising Sony specifically for their blockbuster games and acknowledging that they haven't been doing a very good job in competing with Sony in this area. So very interesting stuff here that I think will be a cause for a lot of interesting conversation, I guess is the way I'll put it. But this is reading from PlayStation Lifestyle, and it says Xbox Game Studios executive Matt Booty has said that Sony's first-party studios have done a fantastic job with their blockbuster franchises and has acknowledged that Microsoft hasn't competed with Sony on that front. In an interview with Kinda Funny Games via VGC, Matt Booty said that one can't argue with the quality of Sony's first-party games that are designed for a wider audience, and hopes that Xbox will be able to tap into that market as well. And so here's a direct quote. First, just to bring it up, hats off to Sony and their studio system and the leaders that they've got there. I mean, it's fantastic. You can't argue with the quality and the craft and the games that they've delivered, that they're working on now, and the stuff that we've seen so far. So just kudos and hats off to them. I tend to come at that less one of those and more making sure that we are paying attention to fan expectations. I think that there's a certain kind of game that generates an anticipation that kind of becomes this big tentpole moment. It's a game that fits that intersection that everybody can play, and it's also a big world that you can feel like you can inhabit. And I think those kinds of games are important. Matt Booty added that Microsoft doesn't want to create its own versions of games like Uncharted and Horizon Zero Dawn, but reiterated, that Xbox does need games with more universal themes, big worlds, and wider appeal. So a very interesting quote here coming from the head of Xbox Game Studios that seems to validate a lot of what PlayStation fans have been saying for a long time. Now let's get one thing straight here. And let's make it clear. Most Xbox fans understand why PlayStation games are good and why so many people like them. But I think we can all agree that there is a vocal minority that have continued to try to convince people for one reason or another that Microsoft shouldn't look at Sony and take notes. And I've been saying for a long time that I think when it comes to developing the AAA game, Sony has nearly perfected it. I don't want to say that they've perfected it because there's always room for improvement, right? But they've done a very good job. And I think that most people can very clearly see that and appreciate it. And so for anybody who maybe was coming out here and saying that, no, that's not what Xbox should be doing, I think that anybody who is saying these positive things about Sony's studios and their games, right? I mean, you guys have seen it where all the games are one and done. They're just over-the-shoulder open world experiences, and they're all essentially the same game. Anybody who has experienced these games know that that's just simply not true. It couldn't be further from the truth. And a lot of PlayStation fans have been kind of looking to Xbox and saying, you should try to, create games that are similar to this, not copy them, right? Even Matt Booty is saying we're not going to make our own Horizon Zero Dawn or Uncharted, although I don't think everybody would be opposed to that if they did, but to try to still be original about it, but take some notes, right? And so, again, if you're somebody who maybe just didn't think that this was something that was worth praising Sony for, or you maybe were of the mindset that Xbox wasn't even paying attention to Sony, turns out it's the exact opposite. We have the head of Xbox's studios coming out here saying that Sony's been doing a fantastic job. Kudos to them, absolute high praise, and I think it's a very classy move, honestly, as well, from Matt Booty, where he didn't have to respond this way, but I think a lot of people, as of right now, for as positive as they feel about the direction that Xbox is going in, a lot of people, I think, are still kind of sitting back and waiting to see if they will be able to execute on this ambition, because clearly this is their ambition. I personally, as somebody who really enjoys Sony's blockbuster titles, I hope that Microsoft will be able to do that, because I think that that'll just be a good thing in general for everybody, right? So there you go. Very interesting quote from Matt Booty. Moving on to the next topic though, something that I am very happy to report to you guys. I should have talked about this yesterday during my video with the announcement that God of War is coming to PC, but we'll talk about it here. It's very good news, and that is the fact that God of War sales hit a staggering 19.5 million copies on PS4. And I wanted to read this headline specifically from Push Square because I think they hit the nail on the head. 19.5 million copies sold on the PS4 is absolutely a staggering statistic. And if there was any question, which I don't think there was, but just in case there was, just how successful God of War is it really as successful as people may have been thinking? The answer to that question is yes. Yes, it is. Because when I tell you that being able to hit 19.5 million copies of a game sold on a platform with an install base that caps out at around 116 million, that is incredibly difficult to achieve. It's very rare. Your game has to be a special game in order to do that. And I feel the need to say this because I have seen at least a few people saying that this 19.5 million really isn't that impressive when you consider there are 116 million PS4s out there that people have. And I can kind of understand why you would think that, but if you understand the measurement of success within this industry, specifically within this business model with the home console and exclusive games, you should know that this is a colossal number. There are plenty, in fact, I'd say most multi-platform titles fail to sell anywhere near close to 20 million. And you're talking about games that are available on literally everything. So make no mistake, this is a massive success for Sony and Santa Monica Studio. I'm sure they're very proud. One last thing I want to add to this topic before moving on is the fact that even though 19.5 million sold on the PS4 is a staggering success, for Jim Ryan, that seems to not be enough. Jim Ryan believes that based off of, I guess, changes that they're going to make in the future or, whatever plans they may have, they're going to reach 30 million people, 40 million, 50 million, and maybe one day 100 million people will be playing games like God of War. I have to say, I don't see anything wrong with that ambition. It will be very interesting to see how Jim Ryan plans to achieve that, but it is worth noting that for as successful as this is, Jim Ryan seems to not be content with that. He wants more people playing these games. So definitely something worth noting there. But the next topic in line that we are discussing is an interesting one. This is again reading from Push Square. The headline says, Sony patent sparks fears of players being kicked from games by streamers and viewers. So before we dive into this, I do have to acknowledge that this is just a patent. It doesn't mean it's going to be a real thing. In fact, most patents that are published never turn out to be anything at all. So I wouldn't necessarily say you should be fearful of this, but certainly something worth looking at. So again, reading from Push Square, it says, Sony's currently catching some flack online for a patent that almost immediately sounds like a bad idea. Registered in January of 2020, but approved only recently, the patent outlines a potential PlayStation feature that would allow streamers and their viewers on streaming websites like Twitch, for example, to either temporarily or permanently remove players from multiplayer games. The patent and rather detailed flowchart shows the process of spectators deciding to remove or bench players who aren't pulling their weight. Players can also be sent messages telling them to play better, and there's even mention of viewers paying to have people kicked from the game. It all seems to come down to a voting system which can be influenced by a player's supposed skill. So, I mean, you look at this and you have to ask, why is this something Sony is considering? I don't see how this could be a good thing. Push Square finishes their article off by saying, we've seen Sony register plenty of questionable patents in the past, but the reality is that very few of these ideas become actual products or features. That said, it's no secret that Sony and PlayStation are making moves in the esports space, and so patents like this are bound to raise a few eyebrows. For now though, we wouldn't read too much into it, and I don't plan to do that. I don't plan to sit here and go over all of the different reasons why Sony could, possibly want to do this, but what I will say is I can understand certainly why anybody who is reading this patent or has discovered it is, as it says, raising their eyebrow, wondering, Sony, why are you going to do this? This just sounds like a bad idea. I don't think that there's really going to be any situation where this doesn't become a very toxic thing that ends up just causing problems. And so if this does end up becoming a real thing or a real feature that Sony plans to incorporate, I don't think it will last very long. Maybe I'm being a little bit too pessimistic, but again, reading over this patent and what it entails, it just doesn't sound good to me. But you guys can let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let me know if this is something you think would be a good idea for Sony to do. Let me know why or why not. The next topic in line talks briefly about Gran Turismo 7, and apparently we are getting a behind the scenes video, which I should have playing in the background. Once again, reading from Push Square, they say Sony has published a brand new video about Gran Turismo 7 entitled The Starting Lane Behind the Scenes. We were expecting the video to delve into the game's development a little bit, lifting the bonnet on what makes the driving simulator tick. Instead, we have Polyphony Digital's Kazunori Yamauchi talking about car culture for about 90 seconds. Kaz is passionate about cars and motorsport as ever, of course, and he describes the culture as a very multifaceted thing. His ultimate point is that GT7 will be a comprehensive title that will let you enjoy its various vehicles in multiple ways, whether you drive fast, collect cars, design liveries in the editor, or take photos. All of these are elements of your life with cars, he says. So, again, it's a short little video. Obviously, GT7 is going to be a massive title for Sony, and it's crazy to think that this is the best-selling PlayStation franchise to date, and there are massive communities that rally around Gran Turismo 7, so I'm sure that anybody who is looking forward to this game is always happy to hear what Kazunori Yamauchi has to say about the next mainline title. So let me know down in the comments below if you plan to pick up GT7. Next up, we're talking about Sony now allowing players to buy games they redeemed through PlayStation Plus. This is reading from PlayStation Universe. A feature that players have been asking for, which seems like far too long, has finally come to the PlayStation Store, which is that if you've redeemed a game through PlayStation Plus, you now also have the option to buy that game if you want to keep it should you ever cancel your subscription. It's something so obvious and seemingly small that it should have been there a long time ago, though up until seemingly recently it wasn't possible. If you wanted to keep playing any of your PlayStation Plus games, you needed to have the subscription. And while that still remains true, it's good to have the option to buy a game that you could potentially be really enjoying and wouldn't want to lose because you can't or don't want to pay for your subscription. So this was something that, as the article written up here points out, that should have been here a long time ago. I don't know what took Sony so long, but nonetheless, it is good to finally see this option available. I actually didn't know that this was a problem, and it's just something that I'm sure people over time it's a problem that they've ran into, and they realize that the only solution to this problem is I have to continue to subscribe to PS Plus. And for some people out there, or maybe even a lot of people, they were probably feeling very annoyed about this. So again, something that should have been taken care of a long time ago, but you know what they say, better late than never. But next in line, we're talking about the PlayStation 5 winning gold in the Japanese government's Good Design Award. This is reading from PlayStation Lifestyle once again. The Good Design Award has officially selected the PlayStation 5 as one of its top 100 good design products of 2021 and awarded the console with the Good Design Gold Award. Notably, the jury only gives the Gold Award to a select number of particularly impressive products each year. The organization, originally established by Japan's Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, highlighted the PS5's unique and easy-to-clean design, as well as the ability to recycle its plastic parts. Previously, the PS4 also won the Good Design Award back in 2014. However, the last gen console did not receive the Gold Award that year. Interestingly, the jury praised the PS4 for its immersive experiences offered across console and mobile spaces, particularly through the PSN. On the other hand, this year's jury praised the PlayStation 5 for its unprecedented 3D curved surfaces and unique outer design. The judges also noted how the two outer panels sandwiching the console were removable and easy to clean. They also noted that while it initially looked impossible to place horizontally, users could mount the PS5 horizontally using the stand included with the console. So yeah, I just wanted to take a moment to let you guys know about this because I had no idea that this was even a thing. And so it sounds like this is a pretty, good award that the PS5 has won here. It sounds like it's something that's not that easy to achieve, specifically the Gold Award. And it's interesting that we're seeing this because I remember when the PS5 was first revealed, I think it just took a lot of people by surprise. I will admit, even myself, when I first saw it, I was a little bit apprehensive. I don't know if this is good. I don't really know how to feel about it. But the more I saw it, the more it grew on me. And now that I've had it for almost a year, I have to say, I don't even know if it's a negative. For some people, I'm sure it's a negative, but the only negative is just the sheer size of the console. It can be difficult to find places to put the console without it really sticking out too much. Or maybe some people just have trouble finding a good place to put the console, in general. But I really come to enjoy the look and design of the PS5. And I have to say that what they point out here, the fact that you can remove the plates and clean your console, is extremely convenient. There is a dust catcher with the PlayStation 5 here. So I highly recommend everybody who has a PS5 occasionally remove those plates and, dust it out. They put that dust catcher there for a reason. So pretty cool. But moving on to the next topic, I want to let you know that Vampyr, or Vampyr, I don't really know how you say it. I guess we'll just say Vampyr. There's a new update that adds 1440p 60 FPS support when playing on PS5 via backwards compatibility. So this is yet another title that is getting a free PS5 update. This comes from Focus Entertainment. They say, we have a surprise for you, a new patch for Vampyr with enhanced game performance on next-gen consoles. You can now visit plague-ridden Victorian London in up to 1440p and 60 FPS. So there you go. If you're somebody who is a fan of this game, which I've heard good things about it, and you're planning on going back and playing it, or maybe you just want to play it for the first time and you have a PS5, you will get this free update, which is pretty cool. Next in line, we're talking briefly about Riders Republic, because apparently this game is going to be getting a free trial ahead of its release on PS4 and PS5, which I think is great because this is one of those games that I think could benefit greatly from a free trial. It's a game that I'm interested in to a certain extent, not interested in it enough to just buy it and risk being disappointed with it, but certainly interested enough that if there is a free demo or whatever, I'm going to play it and see if it's something worth maybe picking up. So once again, reading from PlayStation Universe, it says Riders Republic will be available to play between October 21st and 27th on Sony consoles via the time-limited trial week, and any progress you make during this time will make the jump to the full version of Riders Republic. In addition to the above, Ubisoft is also hosting a competition for the mass races, where registering for the Mad Challenge and finishing in the top 10 during the free trial will see players entered into a prize draw to scoop a Riders Republic Canyon bike or the Riders Republic Gold Edition. So yeah, the game is launching officially on October 28th. And again, I'm really glad that they're doing this because I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I feel like this game does have potential and I've heard good things about it. Seems like it's really fun, but I'm just not sold on it based off of what I've seen. It is really one of those games where I have to get my hands on it and try it out. And I'll know for sure, like, okay, this seems like a game I'm definitely going to want to play and, play for some time. So I'll pick it up. But let me know down in the comments below if you were planning on getting Riders Republic, and if not, if you plan to try out the free trial. Next up, we're talking briefly about Cyberpunk 2077 and The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, because both the PS5 and Xbox Series X versions have been delayed to 2022. So again, reading from PlayStation Universe, CD Projekt Red has officially delayed the release of the PS5 and Xbox Series X and S versions of Cyberpunk 2077 and The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt into 2022. First up, Cyberpunk 2077 will launch for Sony and Microsoft's next-gen consoles in Q1 2022, more than 1 year after the release of the PS4 and Xbox One editions. And so this will probably put it between somewhere in January or March. And The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, meanwhile, will arrive in Q2 2022, which means the game will arrive between April and June of 2022. So I think that there are quite a few people who own these current gen consoles, got to stop calling them next gen consoles, who I think were holding out hope for one or both of these titles launching this year. But hopefully this means that CD Projekt Red has learned a thing or two, where if it's not ready, don't put it out, just delay it, take as long as you need. And I think everybody else, we're perfectly fine with that. There's no rush. So hopefully CD Projekt Red will be able to redeem themselves a little bit with the next, almost did it again, with the current gen release of Cyberpunk 2077 and The Witcher 3. But the final topic I have for you guys before ending this video is the fact that Oddworld Soulstorm Enhanced Edition was recently announced, and it was confirmed that you will be able to get a free upgrade with this game. So it was announced that there will be updates and gameplay enhancements made to the base game, and even more changes and fixes will come later. And those who already own Oddworld Soulstorm on PS5, PS4, and PC will receive the Enhanced Edition update for free, while the base version of the game will be updated to the Enhanced Edition on the various storefronts for any new purchasers. But there you go, that's going to do it for this video. Again, I hope you did enjoy it, and I hope you did find it informative. Be sure to leave it a like if you did, subscribe to the channel if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.